Hello, everybody. It's time for another high school football season in Walton County. A lot of big games coming up this week. David Johnson will join us in just a few minutes. We'll talk about some of those ball games. But, of course, the big one is right here in Monroe as the Purple Hurricanes take on the Loganville Red Devils. Kickoff time is 7:30. It's going to be on radio. WMOQ will carry it at 92.3 FM. And with us right now, of course, is head coach and former athletic director Matt Fligg. Has dumping that title helped, Jenny?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't see how I've done that the last 6 years because I'm so busy now I can't get caught up. But I enjoy being athletic director here. We got a lot of great coaches, but Coach Cannell's come in here and taken a lot off my plate. And I really like Eli, and he's really good for Monroe.
Speaking of taking things off your plate, it's been a long summer for you, I know personally.
Well, it's my dad. We all had to take care of my dad this summer, and he passed a couple weeks ago. And my daughter's still battling some eating disorders down in Alabama, but we got a lot of support and a lot of love. So I'm very fortunate to have all that support.
Man, with everything going on outside the football stadium, has football been sort of a release for you, or has it been a distraction?
No, it's definitely a release. I know, whatever happens outside, and like I said, it's, there's so much support and the help going on with Megan and my father. Football, when I get to football, I forget about everything, and there's nothing like it. And so it's really been a great release for me.
All right, last year, I guess, could have been considered a rebuilding year, but you win 8 ball games, and now you got maybe even stronger team coming back.
Well, we did. We lost 16 starters off of that 2010 team that won 11-2, and we started a bunch of sophomores and juniors last year. So we feel like we have a lot of good experience, and especially on our offensive line. Our offensive line has not been the best here at Monroe during my tenure, but Coach Carter has done a great job with them. They've really lifted weights, and we feel good about our line of scrimmage this year.
Tell you what, talking about doing a good job, Monroe area has no winning tradition in football until the last 4 or 5 years, and the job that you have done, it just can't be overestimated. It had to take all kind of patience and everything else.
Well, we did have to be patient early on, but and it's not me. Believe me, there's no such thing as I at Monroe. It's all about we. And I've got my coaching staff is great. They're great people. We enjoy working together. We see each other more than they see their families during football season.
Yeah.
But if you really have a great continuity, and if you really like the people you work with, it makes the experience so much better.
All right, Loganville coming up, first ball game. Last time you played them, they were like a 40-point favorite, and things have changed a lot.
Well, Loganville, I have tremendous respect for Coach Godfrey and Coach Humphreys, the defensive coordinator over there, and they do a great job. And I tell you, we hadn't played them in 3 years, and it was pretty close the last time we played them. But a couple of years before that, it wasn't close.
Yeah.
But Loganville has a lot of kids back. Eric has got those guys in the weight room. They're very strong, and they're a lot bigger than us.
Yeah.
And we know that, and we got to somehow overcome that. And it's going to be a great ball game. Two good football teams that want to win the game, but both respect each other.
And coincidentally, both starting quarterbacks for the first time.
That's right. I know Garrett Ford was a great quarterback over there. We have Stanton Truitt, which is playing quarterback for the first time. We like Stanton. We feel like he can really get the job done. We got to be patient with him because he hadn't been under center before. He had a scrimmage game last week. It was his first time, but we really feel confident with him being our quarterback and our leader.
Well, that spread option you run, the quarterback is so important. Turnovers are going to be probably the deciding factor in this ball game.
Every time you run the option, Danny, sometimes there's, it's 3 people with an option to get it. And if you don't do it, execute it perfectly, there's always a chance of the ball being on the ground. But that's a chance we take. We really drill our kids about doing the execution right when we do run the option.
Going back to Devon Smith, and last year, you have never been able to throw the ball really well. Does Stanton throw it?
Stanton has a very good arm. He's a left-handed quarterback, which is kind of good because most teams, compete against right-handed quarterbacks. But he's a strong kid. He's one of the strongest kids on the team, and he's not that big, but he's got a very, very good arm. And we got some kids really catching the ball good this year.
And good receivers are hard to find in high school football.
Oh, absolutely, especially when in the past when you ran the ball so much, receivers just had to block. But this year, they've done a great job. We got Cody Brown, we got Dietrich Kemp, we got Sean Garrison, and our backs can catch the ball. K1 can catch it real good. And TJ Sigmund, Junior Brooks, they all have good hands. So we do want to open it up a little bit more this year.
Is your skill position the deepest part of your ball club?
Well, not really. We feel like we have some good skill players, but we're not that deep in those areas. Unbelievably, here at Monroe, our deepest part is our line of scrimmage. Coach Carter has 3 or 4 positions still up for grabs. They compete every day for it. And we feel that we have to bring our defensive players over for backups and vice versa on offense to defense. But we feel like they're pretty good, our skilled players. But when it gets down to the lower levels, our sophomores, it's our JV team only has like 2 or 3 backs.
So you're going to have a lot of people going both ways?
Our plan this year is I like to platoon, but that's kind of thrown out this year. We're going to play the best 11. Fortunately, we only have 3 or 4 kids having to do that right now, but whatever it takes, we're gonna do when it comes to playing the best kid in the game.
Matt, thanks for your time. Good luck on Friday night. We expect a good one.
Well, Dan, I appreciate it, and I hope you're doing good, Danny. I know you had a loss, and we've been praying for you. And good luck on that recovery.
Thanks a lot. All right, David Johnson's coming up. We'll talk about the other games in the county. Stay with us. David, we just talked to Matt Fligg. Your thoughts on the ball game coming up?
Well, if I'm a casual fan in Walton County and I don't have a dog in the fight anywhere, this is the game I'm going to this week. This has been 3 years in the making. Of course, they haven't played for 3 years because they split classifications. Loganville went into A Quad A, and they were in an 11-team region. They had no room on Monroe for their schedule. So finally, things have cleared up, and these two are going to get together, and it's about time because Loganville's dominated this series since '98. I think they've won 5 or 6 straight now. And just when they quit playing, Monroe got good. And so it's really been hard to sit here and not see them play the past couple of years. So Monroe is loaded this year, and Loganville's strong again. And so this is going to be a lot of fun.
What I talked to Coach Fligg about was both teams starting new quarterbacks, and that's a variable that's going to be important for both of them.
Oh yeah, this is for Loganville. They're going to miss Garrett Ford. He was the starter for the past couple of years, led the county in rushing last year. He was a great leader, in addition to being a great player. So they're going to miss him. Josh Laughlin, there was a 2-way battle. Josh Laughlin and Royce Harrison were battling out to replace him, and unfortunately Royce went down with broken collarbone, so Josh is going to step in at least for the first game and be the starter. So that's going to be key for Loganville is how he plays.
Well, you talk about a coincidence. Monroe's quarterback is not Stefan Tuitt, it's Stanton Truitt.
Right. Yeah. And I had to ask for a while. I'm thinking, are they related somehow? But they don't look anything. Stefan was 6'5", 280 or so, and Stanton's not quite that big, but he is quite an athlete. I'm excited about seeing what he's going to do. He, of course, transferred in about halfway through last year from Peachtree Ridge. First game, steps in against Gainesville on 150 all-purpose yards. And then midway through off-season or preseason practice, he was named the starting quarterback. So I think he's going to be really special. And just another speedster to add to an already incredibly speedy backfield. I mean, Monroe is, of course, they won the 4x100 state championship this year, and K1 Brooks running back. Stanton is, of course, the quarterback. The other 2 guys are in other positions. This is going to be some fun to watch. It's going to be a speedy group.
And that's always been Loganville's downfall. They have never had the speed in the secondary to run people down.
Right. Yeah. This game's going to be speed versus power. Loganville's big and strong. They went up against Brookwood a few weeks ago in a scrimmage, and so they can handle themselves. They're big and strong. Whether they can, Coach Godfrey said their intentions is to try to stop everything up front, to really get a lot of penetration up front and try to stop them, these speedy backs before they can get past them, because if they get on the corners, they're going to have a hard time catching them.
All right, some other games coming up this week. George Walton's got a familiar foe coming in.
Yeah, they'll be taking on an old GISA rival, FPD, that First Presbyterian Dave Macon. And First Presbyterians handled George Walton pretty well over the years when they were in GISA. Could be different this year. George Walton comes in and they're loaded. George Walton has got a really strong, they were already going to be strong anyway just because they had just about everybody back from last year. And then, of course, they added a couple of guys from Appalachia, not the least of which is Stanley Williams, who, of course, most people already have heard about him, I'm sure. He accepted a scholarship offer from Mark Ritt back before his sophomore year even got started. And the one common thing you hear when you talk to the players over at George Walton is they just kind of shake their heads and go, man, he's fast. So I know they're tired of chasing him in practice, and they're ready for somebody else to have to try to run him down. So, like I said, George Walton's got just about everybody back. They got their Hunter Rice, quarterback, who led the team in rushing last year, led the county in passing. They've got already a solid backfield. They've got an offensive line that averages about 280 across the front, led by Chad Howell at 330. So, George Walton is setting up for what could be a really special year.
Can Williams be the dominant back that Storm Johnson was at Loganville?
I think so. I think they're different kind of backs probably. But if you look at this guy, go on YouTube sometime and see some of his runs from last year. And he's quite the player. And I think he's going to be the difference maker, because last year they were good. They just didn't have that breakaway back like they did a couple years before with Justin Brown. This guy's going to give them that. And that on top of being balanced with Hunter being able to throw the ball a little bit, having that big offensive line. If they can play some defense, they're going to be really good.
Walnut Grove going into the second season under head coach O.J. Soto, they're going to be better.
Yeah, they're going to. And one thing that helps is their numbers are up, of course, and they've got some experience. This is the first season where they'll have a senior class who's been all the way through, at Walnut Grove the whole time, and that kind of stuff just matters. And having that experience, having some numbers, and then having O.J. Soto in there that second year now, the kids know him, they understand his system. And I think they're gonna really have a good year. And this start out against Woodland as a team, I think they can handle. And so if they can get off on a good start and get that first win behind them, I think they all set up for a pretty good year.
Another team's got a new quarterback.
Right. Yeah. Jonah Gwynn is gone. He's been the only starter they've known since they've been in varsity football. So they'll have a new quarterback, and ironically, they've got all these seniors coming back that have been there the whole time. But the guy that's going to be leading them is Joey March, a guy that transferred over from LCA. He's come and stepped in, won the starting quarterback job. So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to handle that.
And I noticed down here, Woodland's only had one winning season in their first six. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, they had a nice season about 3 years ago, and since then they've kind of struggled. So hopefully for Walnut Grove they'll continue to struggle at least for one more game.
All right, social circle, new quarterback, new head coach, new offensive philosophy, and hopefully a new winning tradition. Yeah,
this is going to be the beginning of the Ron Seaver year. Of course, he's come back. That's where he cut his teeth back in the 80s. That's where he got his start as a head coach. Went off to DeKalb County for about a quarter of a century, and the past 8 as the athletic director over there. So he's certainly not going to be intimidated by anything he's going to face having to rebuild this program. And so I think he's going to do some good things. You can't help but be excited and motivated just talking to the guy. I mean, he's just he's a real positive kind of guy, and motivated as a good coach, and I think he's going to do a good job.
All right, every game kicks off at 7:30 on Friday night. LCA and Covenant playing this week. Covenant's going to be at Young American Christian Academy. And best of luck to those two teams too. But a lot of big games coming up. Hope you'll go out and support your favorite high school football team.